now. Let him cook! I said let him cook!
Yes, that is right. So with Sean unable to make a video this week, it is up to me to be able to make this video. So I have to make this armor and this video before Friday. And if you're seeing this on Friday, well, I did it. And if you're not seeing this on Friday, well, yahoo! So, let's get into it. So you may know, myself and Sean went to EmpirelarP about a year ago, where I made a video making a shield, which just so happened that I was unable to use because I didn't do my research. And this time I am 99.9% sure that what I am making is allowed and will work for the LARP itself. I started off by making a design which was inspired by a bunch of things I found on Pinterest, and also the guidelines for the actual LARP event itself, specifically the nation I'm a part of, Navarre, and came up with a design that I actually thought was pretty good. Though the design is pretty simple, I didn't want anything too bulky or would get in my way because, hey, I'm not that fit of a person, so when I'm running around for an hour and a half, I don't want to be carrying lots of extra weight because I would get very sweaty. Additionally, being a northerner, I have no money, as always. So I wanted to keep this as low of a budget as possible to hopefully make it more viable to make the armor instead of buying it at the event. So the things I actually purchased for this were a brown fabric dye, 300 feet of yarn, though it did come in the wrong color, a hole punch, though I will just say right now it broke instantly, so that was a waste of money, a can of metallic spray paint, and some fur. And you might be wondering, hey, Brandon, since you're making leather armor, aren't you going to need leather? Isn't that going to be the big purchase? Yes, it would be, and I was ready to spend about 50-ish pounds on leather, so I'll incorporate that into the end price. But luckily, my auntie was getting rid of a leather sofa the other week, so I went down and stripped it to pieces, taking every piece of leather I could. Because hey, recycling and saving money is fantastic. So here you can see me and my dad, though I do look like I was just dragged through a bush backwards, talking about how we're going to actually strip this leather sofa. So get these nice big chunks.
Panels.
Yeah.
To work with the panels, it'll just go down the seams.
Yeah. And I do apologise for the way the camera looks. While setting it up very sneakily because I didn't inform my auntie I was filming, I may have accidentally left it overexposed, which means everything looks awful and bad. So I'm keeping only a bit of this footage in, so you get the picture. That is where I got my leather from, though I was very prepared to purchase some online. And once everything had arrived at my house, I started to get to work with the dyeing to start with. Mainly because on my first trip to LARP, I already purchased some things, though they came the wrong colour and overall ended up being pointless. So I was hoping this dye would be able to fix that problem and I would save even more money. This being one of the problem items. This was supposed to be a brown, but as you can see, that shit's blue. So my initial idea was to dye it brown, like I intended it to be. Additionally, I also pre-purchased this fur, which came much lighter than I anticipated, so I hoped the brown dye would also work on that. So following the steps of the dye, we got to work. Step 1 involved weighing the dry fabric, which I have this very, very, very wonderful shot of the scales, but no shot of the actual dry fabric itself, because hey, I think ahead. Step 2 was using rubber gloves to dissolve the dye into 500 milliliters of warm water. Step 3 was to fill a bowl or stainless steel sink with approximately 6 liters of warm water, stirring everything together, including some salt. 5 was to submerge the things you actually wanted to dye into the liquid for about 15 minutes, stirring consistently. And then after that, giving another 45-minute period where you would stir less consistently. And then to skip the remainder of the steps, I will just cut in and inform you that none of that shit worked. it didn't work at all. Like this that I'm showing you right now, the thing I showed you that was blue, this is already dyed. This is what it turned out as. This is the aftermath. The only thing that it did actually work on was the string itself, turning it from a regular string brown to a much darker brown. So again, a huge colossal waste of money, but it's okay. I have slightly darker string now. Why me? So with the dye unsuccessful, I decided to just move on to measuring my torso. Watching other videos for information and inspiration, because I have no original thoughts of my own, I decided to go with the method they suggested, which was to wrap myself in cling film and then tape it and then somehow escape, which I originally thought I would be able to do on my own, but quickly got stuck, so I called down my little brother. Now you may be noticing in this footage that he is blurred. That is because he does not want his face on camera, and I'm trying my best to make sure that it's not in there. So we got to wrapping me up, which actually took a lot longer than I thought it would. I thought this was going to be like a 5-minute segment, but it took us like 30 minutes just to wrap me up, take me up, and then get me out. It may also be because we got a little distracted. Yeah, cool. Bruh, I feel like a Minecraft zombie. Bro, let's do Scooby-Doo.
What's this Scooby-Doo? We're coming after you. Gonna solve that mystery. We see a Scooby-Doo. We're gonna follow you. What's this Scooby-Doo? What's this Scooby-Doo? We're coming after you.
So, with it cut off and finally laid on my kitchen floor, I was ready to put my design from paper to masking tape. And this is where you'll notice one of my fatal flaws. I don't like doing the maths. The common phrase of measure twice and cut once is something that I don't adhere to, nor do I listen to, nor do I agree with, nor do I want to be part of my life. I mean to say, I'm just really impatient, so when I want to do something, I just kind of want to do it there and then, which proved to not really work out, as the part that you're seeing right now of me testing the front piece actually ended up becoming the back piece, because it was too small for the front. And so with the plans laid out, I was ready to begin cutting the leather. This actually made me quite nervous, because it was a resource that I didn't have an unlimited supply of, nor was it cheap to replace, and I would rather spend no money on leather than fucking it up and then having to repurchase leather. Another thing that I forgot to mention about the leather that I salvaged is that it came in 2 thicknesses. One that has a slightly redder hue and another one with a light brown hue. The light brown being the thinner and the red being the thicker. So, putting my fears to one side, I decided to get the dullest knife known to man and just have at it. Which turned out to be the worst idea imaginable, and it took me a very long time to get through anything. Now, I know, experienced crafters, before you come at my throat, I should be using other things. I should be using leather knives, and I should be using scissors. Don't worry, I grow a brain eventually. So, kind of speeding things along, I decided that the front needed to be 2 pieces. A piece on my chest and a piece on my midsection. Not going much lower than that, as I'd still want it to sit quite comfortably when I sat down or when I was moving around. And after painstakingly cutting it out.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
I taped the 2 pieces together to see how they would fit, and I was actually really proud with how it was starting to turn out. Yes, I took the hat off because it's very warm in this room. Here you can see some early tests of us trying to burn a pattern into the leather, using a soldering iron. The pattern we're actually burning is a thorn, which is a big part of the Navarre culture, so I thought it would be cool to actually have some burned into the leather. It was somewhat successful, and we eventually got better at it to the point where I'm actually pretty proud of how it turned out. Editing Brandon here, just hopping in to say I did not actually film any of that process because it had to be done outside as to not set off the fire alarms. And I didn't want to drag all my equipment outside just to film that 2-second segment. And this footage that you're seeing right here, the part near my potatoes, is the very first instance of me using my brain. As you can see on screen, I'm using a thing called scissors. But not just any old regular scissors. really good scissors, which I complained to my mum about how shit everything was at cutting through it, to which she decided to just spawn in some netherite scissors that happened to cut through anything. And to explain this actual footage, what I'm doing is I'm trimming up my previous cuts and making it just a little bit nicer to the eye. And it is at about this point we actually decided that this should probably go on the back instead of the front, as again, it was too small for my front. So we decided to put an extra panel of leather in the back. So instead of it being 2 pieces, it's 3 panels altogether, making it slightly longer on the back than the front, but I think that works out for someone like me. And with all my pieces cut out, it was now the perfect time to begin edging.
Huh?
I don't mean in that sense. I mean in the way where I put trimmings. Trimmings is a much better word. I decided to put the trimmings on the side. Basically, just putting a little trim around the actual panels to give them more depth and thickness. Also to make them look really fucking cool. It's also this moment where me and my dad decided to have a very long conversation about how the trimming should actually be done and how they should be fitted.
What I'm saying is, you're doing that now and doing an edge on there, and you're going to fasten it there and trim the back edge.
Yeah,
Then what are you going to do?
it's done.
After, I think, like a 30 to 40 minute discussion, I ended up going with my dad's method, which, hey, who would have thunk it, was the right method to go with, because again, I have no brain cells. So, with my first 2 pieces of trimmings attached, I decided to put the back together just to see how I was feeling and how it looked to me. And hey, I think that looks pretty cool. So, with newfound confidence and the wisdom of my father, I got to work. I started steamrolling all of this. I was putting trimmings left, right, center. I was the quickest person at trimmings in my entire house. Though I was the only person doing trimmings in my house. But hey, first place is first place, baby. You'll also notice that I have been moved to the floor in these scenes. That is because, to put the actual ready rivets through the leather, I have to bash that shit with a hammer. Which on the countertops is A, probably not the best, and B, really, really loud. And it was getting pretty late, so to save noise complaints, I decided to start hammering on the floor, which did actually make it much quieter, though I kinda had to sit like a goblin. And with all the trimmings done on all 3 pieces, I put those 3 pieces together, and boom, we had the back complete.
Boom. That's the back done, kind of. Yeah, I like it. I like how it's turning out. Sorry, I'm not looking here. I like how it's turning out. I might paint this green actually. This is just chalk for when my dad burns it in. But I might also do a painting of this because I quite like it green, which also works for the colours. Oh, okay, it's insane that I have to be done tomorrow. Because tomorrow is Thursday and this video needs to be out by Friday. But it is 10:30 at night. So I am going to tidy up a little bit because it is a mess. And then I'm gonna go play Helldivers with my little brother because I promised him. And then I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed.
So, day 2 rolled around of my 2-day project and I was ready and raring to get this done.
So, day 2. I think I'm probably behind schedule. I'm out this afternoon because I need to go to my nana's, so I'm definitely behind. I got the front to work on today. Yippee! We'll get it done. We'll get it done.
So, that cut my time off by, I think I was there for like 3 hours. So, 3 hours minused off the day instantly, and I still had to get it done before Friday. The B-roll that you're seeing right now is plastic chicken wire, which is actually what we used to fake chainmail. Now, there are some parts of this process that I didn't catch on camera, mainly the actual designing process of the front. But you saw what I did for the back, and it's basically just the same, just slightly wider. And with the vibranium scissors in hand, cutting was so much quicker, and I saved so much time, making me think that this might actually be possible. I will also just say, as this footage is playing, if you are going to EmpireLARP in April, and you happen to see myself or Sean, please feel free to come say hi. Last time we went, people did come up and say hi because they recognized us from the Shield video, and that was like the coolest feeling in the world. So hey, if you want to come say hi, by all means, please do. I also learnt that using a craft knife to get into the small details and make lines a little bit sharper was really helpful. As you can see from this footage of me cutting in the fuckboy V-taper that I decided to add, which I didn't add for any other reason than I thought it would be cool. So, with me no longer cutting out with a knife, lining up my previous cuts was a lot simpler, especially with the craft knife in hand. So I quite quickly got my two main pieces cut out, and I got straight onto the trimming section. Trimming is such a better word. I don't know why I tried to use the word edging. It has such a bad meaning now. Since it was going so well, I will let past Brandon describe what was happening. Though, yes, I was describing to my dad what was happening.
Are we winning?
Always. After I've done it all, I can go through and sew it.
Once we put the fur under and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just going over these flappy edges like this.
Yeah.
Or like this. This part's done. It's still all this. It's just going to add that extra little tiny bit. And that'll be it done. Whereas in actuality...
We've got to measure straps up as well, haven't we?
Yeah. In actuality, there's way more to do beyond the video. It's just...
You need something for tomorrow.
Yeah. But this is working. I'm winning.
Good.
This is also where I started adding in two other pieces I've previously mentioned in this video. The fur and the fake chainmail. And again, this is where I actually started to grow a brain and measured things out, not with a ruler but with my eyes, to see whether they would fit or not before attaching them or cutting them. And with all of the pieces measured with my eyes, I cut it all together and stomp, and just like that, it was done! Though I will be honest, even though yes, I did just say just like that, it was like 2 to 3 hours of cutting and hammering and then cutting a bit more and hammering this other part and then sticking it all together and trying to see if it works. But yes, in the end, it did indeed work out. The other sections that I didn't get to film were these parts. These parts here, that aren't focused, are the side pieces that actually let it attach to my sides. Additionally, the shoulder straps are other parts that I did not get to get filmed. Also, in the interest of saving time and getting this video out on time, you may notice that I've only actually done the front and back of my original armor design, which itself had front, back, shoulder pieces, and an entire war skirt added on. I have only so far got the front and the back done, because hey, I'm running out of time. And so here is the final results. And so hey, you've seen the creation of this. That was pretty cool, right? And it seems like I've got it done on time. False. I have been lying throughout this entire video. Originally, Sean asked me if I could get this video done by Friday last week. I did kind of get the armor done in 2 days. The actual full production side, I did not get done for another week. But all of this is to say that in the end, I did manage to get it done within a reasonable price budget. Adding everything together, including things that I probably forgot off the list, including ready rivets, I spent between £60 and £70 to make this armor, which I think is really good going, though of course that isn't including the leather. Adding leather onto it would put it at about £100 to £120, which I think is still pretty good going for some LARP armor. Anyway, that's the video.